It's hard to be mad at the Bulls for tonight's performance. It really, really is. They're without 4 guys due to COVID protocols. They're on the road taking on the defending champion Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron's playing, and even though it's a kind of a surprise that Anthony Davis is not, so AD's not there, you still got LeBron. It's still a team with some talent. You're on the road. You're in the middle of this long road trip. Heading into this game, I had no expectations for the Bulls. I'm like, keep it within 20! And maybe would have been okay with that. You're going to have some bad games throughout the season. So to see them come out so well early, and you have Zach LaVine, he's hot to start with. He's aggressive to start with, and he's got 19 in the first quarter, and the Bulls are up 33-28 after 1. I'm sitting there saying, you know what, man? I'm proud of this team. I enjoy watching this team. They're fun to watch. They can be frustrating at times, too. Because if you feel like, on one hand, that they're really close to taking another step, they're not. But you feel like it sometimes. And they lead you down that path where you think that they possibly could be. But then, like I said, they come out here, and the first quarter and a half in particular, they play really, really well. And you come out in the second quarter, and Kobe White has 10 quick points. He comes out on fire. He ends up with 12 in the quarter. And I think, as you look at it, LeBron was kind of going through the motions in the first half, admittedly. He had 12. Schroeder had 9. The big real impact player in this first half for the Lakers was Montrezl Harrell. When he was in the game, his energy, his hustle, and his kind of red-ass ability, as I would call it, that was making a difference for the Lakers. That's what really helped get the Lakers back into the game to the point where they're up 1 at the half. But even with that, it's again, you got to have some perspective here. And I got to remind myself of that sometimes. What's your perspective, Jeff? The perspective is the Bulls, in the middle of a long 2-week road trip, are within 1 against the defending champs. And they've only gotten 6 minutes from Otto Porter because, as you find out, he's going to be out the rest of the game due to back spasms. And they are already without 4 players, including Lowry and Satoransky. I'm proud of that performance. Sure, they're a team that have their flaws. And, I'll talk about them. And I will continue to talk about them. And they got to get better in some of these areas because some of these things are just basic fundamental things and they're freaking frustrating as hell. But I think that's part of the experience that we're going to have watching this Bulls team this year. Is that some games are going to be like this, kind of that yo-yo of emotion up and down. And a lot of these games, frankly, have been. Outside of the first 2 games to start the year, which were wipeouts to the Hawks and the Pacers respectively, most of these have been kind of roller coaster rides. So it's fun. It's interesting. It's been a few years since we could call a Bulls team really fun to watch. This one is fun to watch. And I don't see quit in this team. They do try. I see when they get down a little bit or they get into a challenging spot or they've had a stretch where they've played poorly, they're well coached, they're listening, they're engaged, they're buying in, and they're coming back, and they're making those adjustments and playing better. Like I said, I'm enjoying this team right now. There are aspects of this team I don't like. There are players on this team that I don't like. But in general, as a collective unit, they've been fun to watch. But again, they could come out in the second half, in the third quarter. You've got Wendell Carter doing some good things, and he's got 20 points in the first 3 quarters. But you're sitting there saying, damn, sometimes he plays like a puss. He's like 6'10", 255, 260 pounds. Play like a man. Play with some damn physicality. Plays like crepe paper sometimes. It's horrible. Like, go up and be tough. Be a red ass. Get in Harold's face. Scrap with him a little bit down low. Everything needs to be frickin' finesse with you. But as you sit there and, like, even that, he's got 20 points through 3 quarters. So he's doing some good things on the offensive end. But then they let Wesley Matthews go off for 4 threes in the third. Like, those are the killer things. I'm not trying to disrespect Wesley Matthews. You know, on the one hand, if you said, well, Wesley Matthews beat us, not LeBron, you know, you kind of say, I'd take my chances with that. But he was beating him in the third quarter. Like, it's allowing him and the Markieff Morrises of the world, to THTs of the world to, you know, hit some of these open shots and, what really frustrated me with the Bulls in the third quarter, and I think it was all throughout the second half, a couple of things that they did on the defensive end. The defense has been a problem, and it continues to be a problem. And when you want to talk about, they're showing improvements like very small marginal ones, and sometimes they flash small, sustained periods of really good defense, and then they fall back into some really bad, terrible habits again. They were really slow to double LeBron all throughout the night when he posted up. They're letting him, as Stacey King talked about during the broadcast, he's absolutely right. You're letting LeBron get too many dribbles in the post up. You're letting him get 3, 4, sometimes 5 dribbles so he can sit there and boom, 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 boom. Does anybody think that's a good idea to let one of the greatest players of all time just sit there and dribble and dribble and dribble so that way he could think about what he's going to do on offense, whether that be how he's going to get his shot or how he's going to sit there and get the ball to somebody else? You're letting him look at the entire floor. You're letting him read the defense. Like, either double him or don't double him. Stop being so damn delayed when you make the decision. And this happened several times in the second half. And then you look at the way these guys defended the pick and roll. They were like as bad as the Lakers on this night. They were horrible at times. At times. I think the Lakers were more consistently horrible against the pick and roll in their defense. Good Lord. But, you got the situation in the fourth quarter. Wendell Carter sagged so far off of Harrell when Harrell's setting the screen. Get up on Harrell. Switch off onto LeBron. Force Harrell to hit that 3. Force him to take that shot. Do not let LeBron get to the bucket to do the one thing he can do really well is finish at the rim and above the rim. And instead, Wendell Carter's playing like 7 feet off like a dumbass, and he's letting LeBron get off the screen by Harrell, get past Patrick Williams, and you're letting LeBron build up freaking momentum like he's a locomotive. Who thinks that's a good idea? And you saw other times in the fourth quarter, whether it be the slow decision to come and double team from Zach LaVine or the piss poor job in terms of his rotation and his help defense by Zach LaVine. Like, everyone wants to talk about Zach LaVine and all these great things he does as an offensive player. He's a very streaky guy. But, when he's hot, he's really hot. Like 19 points in the first quarter. Like, sometimes watching him, he does some spectacular stuff. But it's when he's bad, he's really bad. I think he's improved a little bit as an on-the-ball defender this year when he cares and when he's engaged and when he's interested. But it's those mental aspects that he hasn't improved on. He's really bad. And you can't have that out of your marquee dude. And that's the problem. He's getting marquee dude shot opportunities. He's got a marquee dude type of ego. And he's not a marquee dude. Scoring 25 in the NBA today a game seems like it's still a great big deal. And to a degree it is, but it's a lot easier to put up those numbers in the game today than it was 20, 25 years ago, or even 10 years ago. The style of play has changed dramatically. You're getting more shots. You're taking more threes. Like, it just doesn't mean as much as you used to. Those other things matter, especially if you can actually do them. And with LaVine, I just get so irritated sometimes with him because it's like, God damn it! How do you not know these basic fundamental defensive philosophies? The hell are you waiting for? Step in and help close off the paint, be a body, get the ball out of LeBron's hands and force somebody else to hit the 3 outside. And if they do, you live with that. You can't let LeBron kill you because he will. Unbelievable. But even as I'm sitting here and you're thinking I'm just like ranting and raving and bitching and moaning here, and to be fair, I'm not doing a very good job of making you think anything other than that. Like, this team freaking fights, man. And they came back. And they kept scratching and clawing and fighting and scraping. And even, 5-6 minutes to go, they're down 7 or 8, and you're thinking, this is probably when the bottom falls out. And it didn't. They kept coming. And you get to a point late where it's a game, and they, by God, if you're telling me heading into this matchup that they've got a chance with a minute to go in the fourth quarter to beat the defending champion Lakers with AD, without AD, I don't give a shit. I'm taking that 100 out of 100 times, and I'm damn proud of this squad. And then you look, like you had a couple of instances, you had the 3-point play where, of course, LeBron doing what LeBron does best, his offensive foul his ass off. He's like a small forward version of Shaq, having to sit there and throw his arm out and push into Patrick Williams, but sure, that's a foul on the rookie. Ugh. never mind the travels they don't call them and everything else. Like, it's one of those grinding, irritating things. I used to think Mike was really bad at the tail end of his career, those last couple of years with the Bulls, in terms of whining and bitching at the refs for everything. Like, LeBron's taken that and he's taken it to a whole other level. It's like, shut the fuck up. You get more calls than anybody. When you take 3 steps before you dribble, that's a travel, a-hole! Shut up! God! It's irritating. But you get Patrick Williams, the rookie, plays really good defense when LeBron goes up for the layup, misses it. Typical LeBron, not very clutch. And then you're in a situation where the Lakers are up 1. LeBron's got the ball at the top of the key, and you're like, okay, last couple of times it was important to play defense on LeBron. This time it's even more important defensively. Got to get a stop here, or his game is probably over. And LeBron just gives in. Like, no aggressiveness, just I'm going to jack up a 28, 30-footer from the top of the key. A horrible shot. And the Bulls get a rebound, and all of a sudden you're looking at it with about a little under 13 seconds to go. The Bulls are within 1. They can win this game. They got the chance at the last shot, the chance to win, and best of all, they don't even have to hit a 3. They could potentially drive to the hole and put the pressure on the refs to blow the whistle because the Lakers are in the bonus. Like, so many potentials and so many possibilities of what could happen here. And instead, what happens, of course? They run pick and roll with Zach LaVine. He rushes, and you're going to argue with me about whether or not it was good shot selection or not. I don't think the shot fundamentally in and of itself was horrendous. I would have maybe liked to have seen him perhaps dish off of the screen roll out to Thaddeus Young. Oh, Wesley Matthews would have covered him. Well, maybe. But you still had a few seconds. You didn't need to rush the shot there because even if LaVine hits it, you've still left the Lakers about 4 or 5 seconds where they could come down and potentially hit a game winner themselves. Now, I understand you want to get a good shot. You want to get a great shot if possible, but you at least want to get a good one. Like, to me, it just felt like that was a bit of a rush shot. Like, as the first window of opportunity that he had, he took it. And I want to be clear here. I talked about it with the game against Portland the other night. I was talking about McCollum and Lillard in the fourth quarter. Like, not every open shot is automatically a good shot. So he bricks it there. You guys are going to talk about, well, he finally missed one in the clutch. Well, he ain't as clutch as y'all try to make him out to be. He has some spectacular moments in the clutch, yes, but he has a lot of times where he comes up short, and the numbers do kind of back that up. I'm just saying. You can piss at me all you want about it, but it's true. And I just find myself, like, so frustrated because this was a game they could have won. I could argue this is a game they not only had the opportunity to win, but they had the right to win. They should have won. You've got one of the greatest players of all time gagging a couple of times in the clutch. Like, even if you're a Lakers or a LeBron stan, like, you got to admit that was not the best closing sequence at the end of this game for LeBron. I mean, he finished with 28, but he certainly wasn't dominant. Schroeder added 17. It was Montrezl Harrell, who I think was the star of the night for the Lakers. He had 17 points, 14 rebounds. It was his energy. It was his ability to clog things up down low a little bit, impact some shots. I think he was the biggest difference maker. So you got 38 out of LaVine. You got 23 out of Wendell. You got 15 out of Thaddeus Young. Kobe White had a bit of an off night after that second quarter that was really high. He didn't do much the rest of the game. He only finished with 14. But damn it. Like, you lose Otto Porter to back spasms. You're without 4 other guys. And it's there for the taking. God. It's going to be a roller coaster all year. It's going to be fun. They're not great. But at least they're fun, and at least they compete, and at least early returns indicate that Billy Donovan was an excellent choice as of now for this team's head coach because he's got them buying in and believing they need work, especially defensively. They need a lot of work. But you're seeing some improvements, and this is a team that, while not great, you can at least feel proud about their effort, their fight, and their entertainment value. And that stands for something when you talk about this Bulls team over the past, frankly, in a lot of cases, couple of decades.